Welcome in, everybody. Today we're diving deep into a concept that you might not have heard of before. Inteiri,
That's a good one.
which means the right amount of solitude. And we're going to be exploring this idea through Minoru Kamada's book, which is actually called the same thing.
Oh, cool. I like that.
It's not about, becoming a hermit or anything like that.
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot where solitude empowers you rather than makes you feel isolated.
It's almost like a radical idea, isn't it?
It is.
Especially in a world that's like, go, 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 connect, connect, connect.
Always be busy.
Always be networking.
Right.
And Kamada's like, what if we just sat with ourselves for a second? You know?
Yeah, what if we just hit the pause button on that merry-go-round? So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Chapter 1. Why is solitude so important in the first place?
Well, Kamada says that when you approach solitude in the right way, it can be a huge source of self-discovery.
Oh, yeah.
It's when we get quiet and we're free from all the distractions that we can actually hear our own inner voice.
I've heard that saying, silence is golden.
Yes.
And I feel like it really applies here.
100%.
Because we're so bombarded by all this noise all the time. Internally, externally. That we lose touch with ourselves.
Yeah, we totally do.
So
Kamada, actually, to illustrate this, he tells a story from his own childhood.
Oh, wow.
He talks about finding solace in being alone, exploring nature by himself.
Wow.
And these experiences really helped him to kind of build who he was.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
And solitude was his training ground for life.
Totally.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it leads him to make this distinction between loneliness with a capital L and solitude with a capital S.
Interesting. Okay.
So loneliness is like that negative feeling when you feel isolated and you don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
But solitude is something that you choose. It's like, I'm going to be by myself now to think and to grow.
So it's not just about like physically being alone.
Right.
It's about your mindset.
Yes.
When you're alone.
Exactly.
That's so interesting.
And actually, Kamada suggests that when we make that shift in perspective, it could change society.
Whoa, hold on. Okay. How does personal solitude change society?
So in Japan, especially, there's this big focus on group harmony.
Right.
What if more people embraced solitude, cultivated their own sense of self? Do you think we'd have more independent thinking?
Yeah, I can see that.
More self-awareness?
Totally.
Maybe even a healthier society.
Wow. So it's like investing in your own personal growth through solitude could actually have a ripple effect outward.
That's the idea.
Wow, I like that.
And Kamada talks about this trend of living alone in Japan in chapter 2, which is called The Trend of Living Alone.
The trend of living alone.
Okay. And he's saying it might not just be about wanting more space. Maybe it's about seeking out that city.
Oh, yeah.
Even in a busy city.
It's like they're making their own little sanctuary in their apartment.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But then the question is, how do we find that balance?
Right. Because we are social creatures.
We are.
How much solitude is too much?
Right. And that's what chapter 3 is all about.
Yeah.
It's called Mastering Social Distancing.
Mastering social distancing.
And he uses this interesting analogy to get this point across.
I like analogies.
Okay, so.
Lay it on me.
He compares humans to porcupines.
Porcupines. Okay.
No, it sounds a little weird.
A little prickly.
But think about it.
Okay.
Porcupines, they need to huddle together to stay warm.
To stay warm, right?
But their spines... they poke each other.
They hurt.
So they got to find that sweet spot where they're close enough to get the warmth.
Without getting poked.
Exactly.
Okay, I see where he's going with this.
Yeah.
Because we need connection as humans.
Yes.
But too much closeness can be a problem.
Right, it can cause friction.
Right.
It can cause conflict. So he's saying that understanding solitude can help us set healthy boundaries.
Oh, that's good.
In our relationships.
I like that.
Yeah, so we can be connected. But also independent.
It's like solitude gives you the space to recharge.
Yes.
So that you can show up better for the people you care about.
Exactly. And this actually reminds me of something
that he talks about in chapter 4. The power of solitude.
The power of solitude.
So he says that solitude can actually give you the power to challenge what everyone else is doing, to stand up for what you believe in.
Really?
Yeah. And he uses a great example.
Yeah.
Bjorn Borg.
The tennis player.
Yes, the tennis legend.
Okay.
He was known for being so calm and so focused.
Yeah, he was like an iceberg on the court.
Totally.
Yeah.
And Kamada points out that Borg was really good at introspection.
Okay.
At being alone, reflecting, strategizing.
Wow.
And that helped him to stay calm.
Yeah.
Under pressure.
So it's like instead of getting swept away by all that pressure, solitude was like his anchor.
Totally. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it makes you wonder, could embracing solitude make all of us more resilient?
Not just in sports, but in life.
Yes, in everything.
That's a great question.
Yeah, it is. And, this leads us to chapter 5.
Okay.
Which is mastering the art of aging gracefully.
That's a big one.
It is.
It's something that people have a lot of feelings about.
They do.
But Kamada's got a really refreshing take.
Okay, I'm ready.
He's like, why do we think aging is all about decline?
Right.
What if we looked at it as another chance to grow and to learn, no matter what society says?
It's like instead of being afraid of getting older, we can actually embrace it.
Embrace
and all the wisdom and experience.
Yeah, the experience.
That comes with it.
He even talks about ikigai.
Ikigai.
It's a Japanese concept that basically means your reason for being.
Wow. Okay.
It's that thing that gives your life meaning. And he says that that purpose can change over time.
Right.
It's not fixed.
Right. Like you might have one reason for being when you're 20.
Yeah.
And a totally different one when you're 60.
Exactly. And he's like, don't stop learning.
Yeah.
Don't stop exploring. Stay active physically, mentally.
It's awesome.
Find joy in the journey.
I love that.
It doesn't matter how old you are.
It's like he's giving us permission.
He is.
To just like rewrite the whole aging narrative.
Rewrite it.
But what about the fear of like ending up alone? Especially when you get older.
Right.
That's something that I think a lot of people
worry about it.
Yeah, worry about.
Yeah. And that's actually what Chapter 6 is all about.
Okay.
Living alone and becoming a master of solitude.
Living alone and becoming a master of solitude.
He's like, let's talk about this fear head on because there's a lot of anxiety in society about being alone.
Especially later in life.
Especially as you get older.
Yeah.
And he talks about korokushi.
Korokushi.
Which means lonely death.
Oh, wow.
And it's seen as a really taboo subject.
Yeah, it is.
But he's like, why is it so negative?
Right.
What if we shifted our focus away from how we die and toward how we live?
Okay.
It's like he's saying, you can't control when you die.
Right.
You can't control how you die.
Yeah.
But you can control
how you live.
How you live.
That's powerful.
It is.
And he even says that you can experience solitude.
Yes.
Even when you're
even in a crowd.
Surrounded by people.
Yeah. It's about that internal feeling. It's about maintaining who you are, no matter who you're with.
That's so interesting.
So it all comes back to that finding that right amount of solitude.
Yeah.
We can all thrive.
But before we get too far into that.
Okay.
Let's take a little pause.
Let's take a breath.
And recap some of the key takeaways.
Yes. What stood out to you?
I think, oh man, that porcupine analogy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. That one really stuck with me.
It's so good.
It's just such a quirky way to think about boundaries.
Yeah. And it makes you realize that you don't have to be close all the time to have a strong relationship.
Yeah. Sometimes that space is what actually strengthens the bond.
It's like counterintuitive.
It is.
But it's true.
It really is. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get practical here.
Okay.
What are some things that people can actually do based on Kamada's book?
So one thing he talks about is being intentional about creating space for solitude.
Okay.
Like you can build little rituals into your day.
Okay.
Even if it's just 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay.
To go for a walk in nature.
I like that.
Just to get away from everything.
It doesn't have to be this big grand retreat.
Not at all.
Just these small moments.
Yeah, like a little palate cleanser for your mind.
I love that.
Yeah, and he also talks about how physical activity
can
actually help you feel more comfortable in solitude.
So he's not just talking about like hitting the gym.
No, it's more about finding movement that helps you connect with your body and your mind.
He mentions things like running and swimming.
Yes.
Even gardening.
Yeah.
Things that can be almost meditative.
Totally.
When you do them alone.
And he says it's even better when you do them solo.
Why is that?
Because you're not distracted.
Oh, yeah.
You're not trying to perform for anyone.
Yeah, you're just in the flow.
You're just present.
And that ties back to the idea of self-discovery.
100%.
Which we talked about before.
Yeah, like you're getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
Through movement.
That's really cool.
And, you know, speaking of things that bring us joy, he also talks about how creativity can help us with solitude.
Well, that's interesting.
Whether it's writing, painting, playing music.
Okay.
He's like, find something that lets you express yourself.
It's not about being good.
No.
It's just about...
It's about the process.
Yeah, expressing yourself.
Exactly.
It's like giving yourself permission to play.
Totally.
But, you know, solitude isn't always easy.
No, it's not.
There are times when it can feel more like isolation or even loneliness.
And Kamada acknowledges that.
He does?
Yeah, he's like, look, there's a fine line between solitude and isolation.
Okay.
You got to be able to tell when it's not working for you anymore.
So it's about that balance again.
Always about balance.
Right.
Knowing when to embrace the solitude and when to reach out to connect.
And that brings us back to that kind of controversial topic.
It is a little controversial.
The kodokushi.
Kodokushi, yeah.
Dying alone.
And he handles it really well.
Yeah, he does.
With a lot of sensitivity.
And he really encourages us to shift our perspective away from the circumstances of death and towards
the quality of life.
A quality of life.
Like he's saying, we don't know when we're going to die. We don't know how we're going to die.
But we can choose.
But we can choose.
A life that feels meaningful.
That feels meaningful.
Even if it means being alone sometimes.
And that's where I think that Aller
really shines.
It does. It's not about avoiding people.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that solitude has its own value.
Yes.
It's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
Where it makes your life better.
Rather than worse. So it's about being intentional with your relationships.
Yeah.
Making space for solitude.
Doing things that nourish you.
Yeah.
And ultimately accepting yourself.
Accepting yourself, warts and all.
Warts and all.
I love that.
And that self-acceptance can be so freeing.
It can be.
It's like you're giving yourself permission.
To be you.
To be you.
And so...
So we've come to the end of our deep dive into Minoru Kamata's...
Sure. What a journey it's been.
It has been.
From porcupines to...
self-discovery.
To aging gracefully.
Dying alone.
It's been quite a ride.
It has.
So now it's time to bring it home.
Yes.
For our listeners.
Okay.
So after all that, after diving into Kachi, what do you think? Our listeners out there.
Yeah.
Is this something you can see yourself trying out in your own lives?
You know, I think the cool thing about Kamata's book is that there's something in it for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are.
On your solitude journey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're a total social butterfly, those little moments of solitude can still be powerful.
Oh, totally.
Like a walk in the park.
Yeah.
10 minutes of quiet.
Before bed.
Before bed, exactly.
It just all adds up.
It does. And it's not about becoming a hermit.
Right.
It's about...
finding that balance.
Yes, finding what works for you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a solo date night.
Oh, I like that.
Once a week. Maybe it's an hour every morning to just be quiet.
Yeah.
It's about that intentionality.
Yes.
Making that choice.
Rather than just letting life sweep you away.
Exactly. And that can look like so many things.
It can.
Maybe it's turning off your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's...
getting off social media.
Logging off. Yeah. Maybe it's saying no to things.
Saying no is powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
Because then you're saying yes to yourself.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what I love about Kamata's message.
Yeah.
It's not about...
depriving yourself.
Yeah. It's not about saying no to everything.
Right.
It's about self-discovery. It's about self-care.
Yeah. It's about saying yes.
Exactly.
To the things that matter to you.
And there's something almost rebellious about it.
There is.
Don't you think?
I do.
Like the world is saying, be more connected, be more productive.
Be more on.
Be on all the time.
Yeah, and Kamata's like...
chill. Yeah. Slow down. Yeah. Look inward.
Be with yourself.
Yes.
I like that.
It's a revolution.
It is.
A quiet revolution that starts within...
And maybe if more of us
Yeah.
embrace this idea of, yeah.
We can change those expectations.
Oh, yeah.
Make it more normal.
Yeah.
To take care of ourselves.
Imagine a world
Yeah.
where taking time for solitude
Yeah.
was seen as a strength.
Yes.
Not a weakness.
Where people felt empowered
Yeah.
to set boundaries,
Yeah.
to disconnect.
Guilt-free.
Guilt-free to
Yeah.
come back feeling more whole.
More centered.
More
fulfilled.
I love that.
That's the dream.
It is.
So to all of you out there listening.
What does your right amount of solitude?
Yeah.
And what's one small step you can take today?
To create that for yourself.
That's something to think about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
In Today. Until next time.